Hello, this is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. I am your host of this motivational and inspirational podcast. And today's word of the day, Hearken. An old-fashioned form of the word is hark, meaning listen. In the Bible, have definitely ran across this word multiple times when it comes to God speaking to his prophets, his people, even to those that come up against him. He will also use this word hearken. It also in the King James Version dictionary says to listen, to lend the ear, to attend to what is uttered with eagerness or curiosity. The furies of hearken and their snakes uncurl, meaning that God will want us to definitely tune in to what he is saying to us. Listen. And God doesn't shout. He doesn't scream. He doesn't holler. He comes to you with a still, small voice. Now, whenever God may want to raise his voice, especially through the mouths of prophets and different ones that God has touched to speak, he will raise his voice, but with authority, but he's not shouting. As I explained to you before, when God speaks to you, he comes in that still small voice. And if you ever have had a person whisper to you, the one thing you're going to have to do is be quiet in order to hear what they're saying. And that's why God speaks in such a low volume to us, because he wants us to pay attention to what he is saying. I remember several times where a prophet, God will call his name, and I believe it was Isaiah. I believe it was. And I'll have to go back because it was several prophets that he has done this way. And he would say, or was it Daniel? I believe it was Daniel maybe. But in any event, he called his name and he said, here am I. There was one prophet that God kept calling his voice, and he would say, Father, here I am. And he said, son, I didn't call you. Go back to bed, or, go and do whatever you was doing. And he will go back to his room or wherever he may be, and he heard his voice, his name being called. And he would run to his father's room and say, here I am. He said, I did not call for you. And then, he went back, and the third time this happened again. And so his father said, the next time you hear your name called, say it unto the Lord, Lord, here I am. And he did, and that's when God began to speak with him. But it was not with a shouting or with a scream. It was a subtle voice. And that is why God uses that still small voice, because it gets your attention. Now, I'm not saying that hollering and yelling and screaming won't get your attention. But do you hear what is going on? Do you hear what is being said? It's okay to raise your voice to get attention, but to holler and scream, sometimes it provokes another person to holler and scream back at you. And that's not what God intended. God is wanting to get your attention, not get you upset. And whenever we see the word in the word of God, hearken into my voice. Listen to me. Listen to me with intensity, with curiosity, with eagerness, to understand what is being said to you and to know what I am trying to tell you. That when we open up our ears, not our physical ears, our spiritual ear, we have a more greater voice or a greater way of listening to what God is trying to tell us. We are more receptive when we hear God's voice. But when we shut down and we don't want to listen, we don't want to hear what God say, then that's when we find ourselves in more and more trouble. The word of the day, Hearken. This is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. You have yourself a wonderful and blessed day.